So welcome to what is Andy and Paul's podcast. That should be Paul and Andy's, or Andy and Paul's.
You go first.
I'll go first.
Age before beauty.
It's my recording machine. Why are we doing this? Remind me.
Why are we doing this? I don't know. Is it because we want to do something constructive and just amuse ourselves? Or I don't know.
I think it's...
Are we bored middle-aged men?
I wish I was middle-aged, but I think I've far exceeded that by now. We've known each other, haven't we, for 10 years? 10 years.
Longer than that, I think.
No, not really.
Well, I think so. It feels like it, Paul.
It's through the BBC, so
Yes.
no doubt on this podcast we're going to be talking about the delights and vagaries of the BBC. I don't think we should swear very much,
No.
and if we do, I think that we should call time out. But I also think we're men that like to get things off our chest. Now, our other halves might say, you're moaning all the time, you're just a moany old git.
Yes.
But it's not that, is it?
No, I think a lot of people do moan, and that is their modus operandi, because they just like being miserable. But sometimes it's just externalising what you're thinking, and there's a lot to moan about at the moment.
It's externalising what you're thinking. It was just speaking then, isn't it? Is that externalising what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Also,
or
it's
moaning.
It's modus operandum, I think you'll find, because it's just one thing, isn't it? Not that I did Latin at school, you understand.
Yeah, but modus operandi is plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are different ways of doing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I did Latin at school as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Didn't you?
No, I did Russian and I did French. And I can order a beer in about 20 languages, which doesn't get you very far, apart from the bar, of course, which may or may not be useful. So what are we going to talk about during our... We're new to this, aren't we? We're not new to speaking, and you've been in broadcasting for 30 years?
Yes, 30 years.
Tell me a bit about that, because I actually don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, when did you start and why?
Just completely by accident. I was at university, and a friend of mine had a programme on the university radio station, and it was late at night. It was 10 till midnight, and he said, "Do you want to come along and see what it's like? You know, it's really quite good." And I said, "Well, yeah, okay." So I just tagged along because I had nothing else to do. And I thought, God, this is quite good, isn't it? This is quite.
Did you get any midnight callers?
No, I don't think anybody was listening.
So nobody listening to this.
But it was just the fact that I was kind of attracted by the fact you could play music, and the mixing desk was a great thing, because back then it was all tape and analog. Before any of this digital nonsense.
So did you learn to edit?
Yeah,
with a razor blade and
China
a
graph,
block,
pencil,
China graph,
all that. Yeah.
I did a bit of that.
Yeah, it's
I
great
didn't go
fun.
into radio.
Great fun.
You see, we've had very different careers, although it's overlapped, hasn't it? I started in television when I was 24. Worked in ITV most of my life on some shows we'll no doubt talk about at some point. And then I ended up, anyway, the last job I did was at BBC Radio Devon. So I've gone from TV to radio. You did radio, and then you went into TV because you were on Spotlight, were you not?
Yes, that's right, yeah, which is the regional news programme that covers the southwest of England. And then before that I was at Radio Cornwall, and I did they did this scheme called an attachment in the BBC, which was a 5-week thing. If you want to try other jobs out, you could go on a 5-week kind of trial taste to see what you thought of it before you committed to doing the job. And I never came back. I went on a 5-week attachment to television and just never came back.
You're still attached?
Yeah, I was still attached, yes. So
did you were you a journalist? Or,
yeah, I'm a journalist. But I started out as a radio presenter. I did the breakfast show at Pirate FM.
Oh, did you? Well, like not off.
Yeah, Pirate FM.
Smashing and dicey. Now Katrina and the Waves.
That was in 1993. I did that for a couple of years, and it was great because Pirate FM back then was a brand new station that was for Cornwall and bits of Devon, and I was the breakfast show presenter, and it was great fun.
But how did you reconcile that with your journalistic leanings then?
Because I was always interested in music, and I liked news and music, and the Breakfast Show was obviously quite a lot of news and quite a lot of music as well, so it was just fantastic that it brought all those things together for me, and it was in a place I loved, really, so it was just fantastic. It was a dream job, really. And so went on air at 6 a.m, finished at 10. Lovely.
Wow. Yeah, very good.
Correct.
Just to set the scene, we're not in some Soho studio. I'm knocking this out. We're in what could be described by my wife as a living room, but I prefer to call it a lounge. And we're sitting in a lounge, and if you can hear any rumbling in the background, that is the wind blowing across the valley in South Devon here. And it's blowing up a storm, isn't it? So you can hear that going on. You're listening to Paul and Andy's podcast. We have no idea where this is heading, but we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. And if we do more than one, then you'll find out there's a series of things that are going on that we'll probably run with if it takes our fancy. And if it takes our fancy, we're hoping it's going to take your fancy. And if it doesn't, we won't do any more, because we're not getting paid, are we?
No.
How are we going to get paid? How do podcasts get money?
Well, I've no idea. I don't know anything about these things. The older I get, the more I realise how much I don't know. That's the thing. And I think that's quite... Nobody tells you this at school, right? You go to school and you think, right, I'm going to learn all this, pass my exams, and then they'll let me out into the world and I'll do this and I'll do that and everything will be fine. And what they don't tell you at all when you're young is that, all the learning's yet to come.
Yeah.
It's
true.
You leave school thinking you know it all, and you don't know anything.
Actually, you don't start learning, I don't think, until you hit some difficult stuff. So walking over gravel, for want of a better analogy, you don't realise what it's like to have a nice warm or hot bath till you've had a cold bath, till the electricity's run out. And I think even now I'm learning more in adversity, and it sounds a bit pompous and pious, but it's true. I learned more about myself in later life as I've gone through various challenges and struggles than I ever did when things were lovely.
And the problem with that is life's all the wrong way around, if you think about it, because you deal with adversity in later life at a time when you're least able to deal with it. Because you're not fit, you're older, everything creaks a bit, and you're a bit slower. Your brain's not as sharp as it was when you're 18, and yet you're having to deal with all this stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people, have a lot of mental health crises in later life, because they're dealing with a lot of life-changing events, or things like bereavement, things like divorce, things like just being a parent generally. All that stuff they're dealing with at a time when they're really not equipped to deal with it, because they haven't got that sort of spark that they had in their youth.
I think I agree with you to a point, although I think all that experience that you take with you, you can use in your life where you're at. But of course there's that tendency to want to tell everyone, don't take a right turn where I did, don't go down there, because that's the bad thing. I mean, raising two daughters, I sat them down before Molly went off to university, but I hit the two of them at the same time I said, look, your mum and I have made a lot of mistakes. We've made mistakes on the way, and we don't want you to make them. So when you go to university, don't feel that you've got to follow the crowd. Don't feel you've got to... It's not sex, drugs and rock and roll. That's not... You don't have to do that. In fact, you shouldn't do that, because it will get you places. And also, when it comes to personal matters and relationships, don't give it all away at once. And I felt I was being really old-fashioned about that. But I really wish that I had led my life differently, and I didn't, because of circumstances that my peers and all sorts of stuff. And probably will end up talking in other podcasts about addictions and pornography and all those things that come at you when you're a young man. I wish that I had done things differently, but I can take that experience and say to younger people, don't have you done that? I did that too. Don't worry about it, because there's a way through it.
But will they listen? That's the problem. Or will they think, you're just giving me some of advice that you've come up with, and what relevance has it got to me? And that's the thing. And especially as a parent, because in my experience, children never listen to their parents. Children rebel against their parents. Children do the exact opposite of what their parents want them to do.
I don't like piercings. In case that was on your mind, I don't like piercings.
Neither do I. Can't stand tattoos.
I don't like tattoos. No, it's strange, isn't it? We don't.
And, are we the only untattooed men left in the world?
Well, if this ever gets broadcast anywhere,
I'm presuming from what you've just said, you don't have.
I don't have any tattoo. I have no bodily marking at all.
Same here.
Self-inflicted scars. But and of course, I was lenient with having lovely daughters, and they're just fantastic girls. But as soon as they possibly could, they had piercings around their ears, and then I said, I don't mind that. I get that. It's nice, but I'm not keen on nose piercings. So we've got a nose, but I said, I don't mind nose piercings, but I don't like those rings going down.
No.
So we had and then it was, okay, but I really hate those septum piercings.
Oh, yeah.
You look like a bull, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, exactly.
So I think one of them got off and got one of those. And I said, well, it's only a matter of time before we have tattoos. And then a lovely little tattoo appeared on his arm. It was really nice. It was like a stick man drawing. And I liked it. It was pleasant. It was pleasing. It was, if you need to, do that. And then she got the proper tattoo, which was a great big on her thigh.
Yeah.
Big. I mean, it was a beautiful tattoo. But what is it? It's a butterfly. No, it's not a butterfly. It's a moth. It's a death moth or whatever. As featured in Silence of the Lambs, which you made me watch. We didn't make you watch that. Yes, you did. You watched Silence of the Lambs, and this is anyway. So they've got the tattoos. They've got the rings, and of course, what you have to say is, well, at least they haven't murdered anybody or got a terrible addiction to drugs or anything.
True. My daughter got a tattoo, and which was obviously over 16, but for 3 years didn't tell me about it, and I didn't know anything about it because her mother had said, for God's sake, don't tell your father. Thinking that I would go mad. And she turned around to me one day and said, I want to show you this, and lifted her shirt sleeve up. She's got this tattoo on her arm. And I just shrugged and said, it's up to you, it's your skin, you do what you want.
Oh, I said that.
And it just baffles me why anybody would want to indulge in this personal graffiti.
Let's move it on then. We were talking about, how did we get on to talking about Old Spice?
I don't know.
We started talking about adverts.
Oh, you were talking about, you just joined a choir.
I have.
And you were talking about a concert that you've got coming up, and you said to me, it's not Carmina Burana.
No, it's not Carmina Burana.
And I said, it's a good job because you'll be just thinking about Old Spice all the time.
And I said I was too young to remember Old Spice. I never had Old Spice. Nonsense. I had a Brute and denim, we said. I'm a man that doesn't have to try too hard. And then there was Brute, which was, go on, splash it on all over. That's a very poor Henry Cooper.
I recognised it. Barry Sheen did that as well.
I can't do Barry Sheen apart from...
And Kevin Keegan did it as well, didn't he?
Can you do Kevin Keegan?
No, but he had a perm at the time.
He did have a perm. Is that because of the Brute?
I don't know. I don't know if those two things
make your hair curl.
I don't know. I have no idea.
All of those have gone, haven't they? Or can you still get them?
You can still get them. I don't know.
I mean, would you want to?
Not really, but I suppose I don't know. But I suppose the perfume aftershave fragrance industry is huge, isn't it? It's worth billions and billions, and any celebrity now, once they become famous, launch their own fragrance.
Like Beckham.
Yeah, but I don't understand it.
You could have a fragrance called Bria.
I know. I don't want a fragrance.
Bria. People would think it was beer, though, wouldn't they?
Yes.
There'd be confusion. You'd smell like an old brewery or a pub.
No, I don't want to do
best.
that.
I used to wear all sorts of things when I was young. I used to wear Kouros. That was in a white bottle. I remember it was very strong.
Kouros.
You could smell me coming down the street.
Yes. Paco Rabanne.
Paco Rabanne was my favourite.
Yeah.
But very expensive. I think it was about £9 or something.
I can remember a girlfriend of mine buying me Aramis for my 20th birthday.
Yeah. Have you finished it yet?
I don't know. I think it's still around somewhere, still knocking about.
Well, no, I liked Aramis. Paco Rabanne was something special. That's still around. I've seen that.
Is it?
But I don't think you dare ask for it anymore.
No.
Because people think, oh no, he's a bit old-fashioned, isn't he?
Yeah. But that's okay. I don't have a problem with being old-fashioned.
I was going through an airport some while ago because I'm an international jet setter, as you know.
Right.
And I was killing time, and my wife always says, "Why are you spending time buying, in the fragrance area? You're not going to." I said, "Well, is this where you taste?
Loitering again.
This is where you taste them all, yeah. This is where you taste them." And I went, and I'd put one on. And of course, once you put one on one wrist, one on another, and one on a bit of cotton, you can't remember which was which. Was that what the point? I can't remember. Oh, that's nice. And I really fell in love with one. And this is by way of an endorsement. Maybe Issey Miyake will endorse us as a podcast. But Issey Miyake, Wood on Wood. Now, it's a very strange name for a fragrance. Wood on Wood. Not just wood. Wood on Wood.
It sounds vaguely sexual.
It's very nice. Well, it does. I'm not wearing it now, Andy. I want you to know. I'm wearing a different one. What are you wearing today?
What am I wearing?
In terms of fragrance.
Oh, sorry. I usually wear Happy by Clinique. I'm hoping that it rubs off.
That's Pharrell Williams, I think, you'll find.
No.
I don't think Clinique did it, did they? Were they in the charts?
No. The fragrance.
Right. What's that like then?
It's just very nice and fresh. And
so's a lemon.
And it's happy like me.
You're not really happy, are you? Because honestly, I thought we were having a break.
I am.
A commercial break and a lunch break.
Yes.
And you kept going, oh dear. Trying to get your breath out or your breath in. I'm not sure what it was.
Well, it's just that's the sound you make once you get past a certain age. I think it's sort of mid-50s. You start making involuntary noises and everything. So when you get up, you have to go, ugh, and ugh.
And when you get off the sofa.
Yeah. It's just that sort of, that, God, do I have to do this again?
Yeah, another day. I don't have to live another day.
Yeah, that's sort of
what a nuisance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was, to be honest, it was a bit of a miserable lunch on the whole, because you started off talking. We were talking about the end times. We were talking about the parlous state of the world.
Yes.
We were talking about the fact we probably wouldn't go on holiday anywhere because it's too dangerous. Apart from the Isle of Wight, and even there, they've probably got some kind of militancy going on. Yeah. So, we had to kind of move through that onto jollier things, I think.
Yes.
Now, you've got a parcel arrived today, DPD,
yeah,
well-known courier company, delivers a parcel. Inside the parcel is what?
It's an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I didn't order one.
Well, you must have ordered one if you had one delivered.
No, but that's the mystery. And I have no idea where it's come from. The parcel was addressed to me at my address. I open it up as a cardboard box. I open the cardboard box, and there's a jiffy bag inside, a plain jiffy bag with an iPhone in it, with a charger, one of those little tool things that you use to open the SIM card tray, and one of those stylus pens that nobody uses. And that was it. And there was no note in it, nothing, no invoice. I've not had any emails to say your package is arriving today, blah, 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 blah. I hadn't ordered an iPhone. I have no idea where it comes from. So my original reaction is, this is obviously a scam. But how? Why is it a scam? Why would anybody send somebody else an iPhone in the post?
Do you think it might ring tonight?
I don't know.
At 8 o'clock. And somebody on the other end of the line might go, Mr. Andy, we want to talk to you.
I don't know.
Please come to the police station.
It has that feeling about it. And I don't know. And it's completely thrown me. And it's really unsettled me. Because I just think, what's all this about?
Well, it would be more unsettling if it was a washing machine, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, because you have to find somewhere to put it in the meantime.
Whereas an iPhone you could use, presumably.
Well, could you? Or is it an iPhone that transmits all my information as soon as you put your SIM card in and you start logging on to stuff? Does it transmit to another iPhone?
Have you turned it on?
No, I didn't.
Does it look new?
Well, it looks second-hand. In terms of it.
Has it got gravy stains on it?
No, it's
sticky?
not. It's just, when I say second-hand, it's in really good nick. Yeah. It looks new, but it's not in a box, as you would buy, from the Apple store.
Well, we'll keep you posted, listener.
Well, I just want to know if anybody else has had anything similar happen to them. Should I be frightened?
Will they phone you on your new iPhone?
I don't know. Well, I haven't turned it on, so they can't phone me.
Dear, oh dear. I don't know what to suggest, but we'll certainly keep you posted on that.
Yeah.
Very, very bizarre. I do get fed up with the courier thing because, where's it going to end? Sometimes down our street, the Amazon van, he's up and down and comes at midnight and he's delivering batteries and he's delivering...
Well, they don't deliver, they just throw it on your doorstep.
Well, I
wouldn't call that I wouldn't call that delivering.
I think that's a bit unfair. I'll tell you a story about the latest Amazon. Just before Christmas, Georgie, my younger daughter, she said, the Amazon man says he can't bring the parcel up to the door. And I said, well, is he in a hurry? She said, no, he's hurt himself. I said, what, on our property? I'm thinking of litigation straight away. She said, I'll go down and go down. I said, all right, mate, you've got sitting in his cab. He was very, very friendly, very lovely, and from I think from the United States of America. Anyway, I said, well, what's going on? He said, I said, I'm all right. I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry. I twisted my ankle.
Yeah.
And I said, oh dear, that's awful. Can I do anything? Do you want some ice? Oh no. I've just got a couple more drops to do. I looked at his ankle. It's the size of a flipping tree trunk. I'm no word of a lie. God. Not an oak, obviously, it's a sapling.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you can't drive like that. He said, oh no, I've got to finish my deliveries. I'll use my other foot. I said,
how?
Well, it's an automatic van. Apparently I didn't know that such a thing existed. So he's got an automatic van. He's going to use his other foot to and I said, no, that's dangerous. I said, you've got to come. Of course, he was extremely grateful for my hospitality, but little did he know that my front door is up 14 steps. So he had to hop up 14 steps. I sat him down, much against his wishes. But I said, as a first aider, and just thinking about your well-being generally, you've got to get some ice on that. So we got some ice on it. I offered him dinner. He's been living there for 6 months now. He was very grateful. He went on his way. Somebody came along and took him away. But it's just the pressure that they're under to complete. He was going to drive with his left foot on the accelerator. No, that's terribly dangerous. Your brain can't cope with that, can it?
No, and they're everywhere, aren't they? Delivery drivers, and they block roads and everything while they drive. And it's not their fault; they're just doing their job.
That's because you want things.
Yes.
You're sitting in your nice house in Peveril or wherever it is, and you order something, and you want it, tomorrow. So that has to come by a van.
Well, yeah, but that's just laziness, isn't it, on our part? Saying,
it is, unless you're asking for something very particular from a very unusual place, isn't it?
Well, let's not go into what you buy on the internet.
Or what you buy on the internet. You're listening to Paul and Andy's podcast, and we're grinding to a halt here with the hilarity that we have had. Basically, we're here to talk about anything, really, what we think of, what goes on, not just stupid things, but also serious things. So coming up in future podcasts, we're going to be talking about faith. We're going to be talking about religion, politics, addiction, some hard subjects like that, but also things that amuse us or tickle us or make us want to have a jolly good rant.